Okay, folks, recently we had a special session down at the Capitol for the Hurricane Michael Relief Fund for the state of Georgia to put some much needed help, give some much needed help to our southern farmers. You say pecan, no matter what you say. I tell you what, I have not been, I don't like to rely on the news for my information sometimes. Sometimes I do. But I don't like to hear politicians tell me how things are. So I was over in the grocery store line last Wednesday, and sitting there behind a couple from Florida, from the Panhandle, that had come up to enjoy Thanksgiving in the North Georgia mountains. And we got to talking about the devastation and where they are, where they're from outside of Tallahassee. And we got to talk about the devastation. And this couple proceeded to tell me, said, I'll tell you what, when you travel up here, those poor pecan farmers in South Georgia, they just said the devastation and how these farmers are going to ever recover and how long it's going to take. So anyhow, the Georgia House backed a hurricane relief plan and tax break for airlines. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to wait till tomorrow and let our guest give you the details, okay? And number one is Matthew Gutler, okay? Number one there. He is the state representative, Georgia state representative, and it's making the circle of news, all right, making the circle of news that he has introduced a bill for constitutional carry in the state of Georgia. So what I want to prepare you for is tomorrow morning at 8:30, he's going to call into the show. And I'm not going to say we're going to debate. I don't want to say that. I'm pro Second Amendment. But I want to take a side with him so he can bring out some things about why he supports constitutional carry, and you may too. So tomorrow I'm going to take not the opposing side, please, my God, I don't want you upset, but I'm going to take a side that says, well, you know, why and so forth, to let Representative Gutler explain to you why he feels he wants to get the constitutional carry bill to Governor Brian Kemp's desk and see what you think. So Channel 11 and Live ran an immediate story last week when they were down there in special session. Why a gun story? Now, let's run this. It's about 2 minutes. Stay with me. We're going to run the 11 Alive story that has taken off everywhere. In fact, nationally already. There's a story in Miami about this. But go ahead, let's run that video right there.
Enough, Cheryl. Constitutional carry has been introduced before and gone nowhere, but this time the concept behind the legislation will have the blessing of the state's new governor. In Georgia, you can carry a concealed handgun, but it requires a background check and a carry permit. Brian Kemp is among the Georgians with a carry permit.
I hunt, I shoot, and I carry.
Kemp also supports eliminating the need for the carry permit for those otherwise legally qualified to own guns. It's called constitutional carry among Second Amendment enthusiasts who helped Kemp narrowly win the governorship. You still support constitutional carry, right? Is there any folks expressing concern about that? About letting folks carry weapons?
Well, people are definitely concerned about our guns getting confiscated. That's the radical agenda of the people that are funding my opponent's campaign.
Oh, well, I'm just really thrilled that we actually have a governor that has gotten behind constitutional carry.
Matt Gertler is the state rep who introduced the bill to eliminate the gun permit requirement. He says Kemp's blessing is huge.
I don't believe it's radical at all. I think it's conservative. It's constitutional. In the Constitution that says shall not be infringed, we believe that's no compromise statement.
And it's controversial. When 11 Alive polled gun questions this spring, Georgians supported more gun restrictions. They supported raising from 18 to 21 the minimum age to own a handgun. They supported a ban on assault rifles. And they overwhelmingly supported keeping the permit requirement to carry a handgun. Supporters of gun restrictions think constitutional carry runs counter to what Georgians actually want.
The polling data, the constituencies, the voting does not support more guns, more days, more places for any purpose. That is not what the will of Georgia is.
Kemp has always said he would support constitutional carry if it passes the legislature. He has not indicated a desire to put his weight as the new governor behind its passage. Representative Mary Margaret Oliver, who's a Democrat, predicts Republican leaders in the legislature will keep this bill bottled up in January.
All right. One to watch for sure, Doug. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, now I just want to leave you this morning with a couple things. Number one, has been introduced and has gone nowhere. Well, I don't see it going anywhere this time, and don't take that wrong. Now, we will ask Representative Gutler tomorrow how the whole constitutional carry came to the forefront of the news in Georgia right before a runoff election. Narrow win. See, white men in rural Georgia helped him with a narrow win. A narrow win. That's what they're claiming. It's a controversial issue. And all the polling data out there. That's exactly right. Just before an election. So we're going to ask Representative Gutler tomorrow on the show how this got all fired up. Now, there's a video, Constitutional Carry Introduced, Take Action, and this goes back to 2017, okay? This goes back to, I think it's January of 2017, all right, January 30th, 2017. And this is Patrick Parsons, and he is with Representative Matt Gutler, is the lead sponsor of HB 156. Let's play this video, and I'll let you know when to come back to me.
Hey everybody, Patrick Parsons, Executive Director of Georgia Gun Owners. I'm down here outside the Capitol in Atlanta. We have a constitutional carry bill. I'm with Representative Matt Gutler from House District 8, Tiger, Georgia, far northeast corner of the state. He's introduced the legislation. We also have Representative Gravely from Douglasville. We have Representative Peasold from the Columbus, Georgia area, Representative Cook from Carrollton area, Representative Caldwell, Michael Caldwell from Cherokee County, and Representative Ridley from Chatsworth, Georgia. If you do not hear your legislator's name on that list, call them, tell them to support constitutional carry, also sign your petition. Representative Gutler, tell us exactly, in a nutshell, what this legislation does.
Well, it's constitutional carry we're introducing here. We're making it an option to have your concealed weapons permit in Georgia. Basically, we know that criminals don't follow the law anyways. It's restoring our Second Amendment rights here in Georgia.
Guys, that's it in a nutshell. It's simple. We shouldn't have to ask the government for permission in order to exercise our Second Amendment rights. We shouldn't have to pay a tax, a fee. Let's make Georgia a constitutional carry state, the 12th in the country. Let's stay active, let's stay mobilized, stay involved, and let's make constitutional carry a reality here in the state of Georgia. Thank you.
Back to me. Okay, constitutional carry. In the United States, the term constitutional carry, also called permitless carry, refers to the legal carrying of a handgun, either openly or concealed without a license or permit. The phrase does not typically refer to the unrestricted carrying of a long gun, a knife, or other weapons. The scope and applicability of the constitutional carry may vary by state. Okay, no permit to carry a gun. All right. That being said, why now? Why now? Why now? To see if the media can cause controversy a week before an election? The Secretary of State's office? I will say this, okay? What really gets me sometimes is the misunderstanding. You have to refile a bill or it dies. So you could go, and it's called pre-file, all right? So if you're down at the Capitol, any legislator can go to the Capitol. They're down there, they can pre-file. Now, I don't know what the dates are. But we're going to ask Matt Gutler if that's the case, if what he did. The media watches all of these bills. See, after 2 years, if your bill goes nowhere after 2 years, it falls off. All right? Unless you refile it to make it live, to bring it back up. Without it being brought back. So this was a 2007, okay? In the 2017, in the 2019 legislative session, there can be no discussion of this bill if he doesn't reactivate the bill. And I'm going to ask that question in tomorrow. I'm going to ask all the questions the media is not asking. Are they intentionally trying to get Republican, white, suburban women voters not to come vote December 4th for Brad Raffensperger? Or are they trying to get, okay, white, suburban, educated, Republican women in metro Atlanta, in suburban areas, to come and vote for John Barrow in fear of constitutional carry? What is it? Because don't think that they reapplied for constitutional, to re-up, to get conversation on constitutional carry a week before the election without some kind of motive. There's a motive there somewhere. Because I'm going to tell you something, okay? There's federal lawsuits. You got to put 2 and 2 together, all right? There's federal lawsuits right here. And this came out also in the Washington Post. I think it's in the Washington Post also, and I don't have it brought up, but it is in the Washington Post. Nonprofit group, 3 voters file suit seeking new election for Georgia lieutenant governor, okay? Fewer votes were tallied for the Georgia lieutenant governor's race than other statewide elections November 6th, due to problems with voting machines, according to a lawsuit filed Friday in Fulton County Superior Court. A second election is needed because of the voting flaws, the suit states, okay? The declared winner for the lieutenant governor's race, Georgia, was Republican Jeff Duncan, who had 1,951,738 votes, to Sarah Riggs Amico's 1,828,566. The lieutenant governor's office, the race, reported 3,780,034 votes, while the other states' races exceeded 3,843,000. Why was that? Maybe people just didn't vote for her? I don't know. We'll talk about that more. You have federal lawsuits coming. Your Secretary of State will have a big input on how those federal lawsuits are defended in the state of Georgia. That's exactly right. How will these lawsuits be defended? You better pay attention. Also, don't forget that the Secretary of State will have big input with the Georgia legislature on how our elections may change in the future. So you decide whether you want the Democrats running the Secretary of State's office for 2020 when David Perdue is up for re-election, and 2020 when President Donald Trump is up for re-election. You might not know Brad Raffensperger, and you might know David Perdue. You might know John Barrow as old Southern Blue Dog Democrat, good old conservative boy from down on the shore or the coast, whatever. But I'll tell you right now, one last question. Do you want Democrats running the Secretary of State's office in 2020 for President Trump and David Perdue with Stacey Abrams on the ballot? See, Stacey Abrams will come out on the ballot for to go up against David Perdue to try to bring at least her minority black voters back and not let them vote for President Trump because they actually like him. I'm your host, BKP. It is time. I didn't get everywhere I wanted today, so it is time now for Instant Replay with Dave Garner right now. Coming up right after these messages, don't miss Instant Replay, Dave Garner. I'll be back tomorrow morning.